was a quandary for us to decide what to do with all of this. Should we endow the children with trusts? We had seen that happen, and too often it didn't work out very well. So we decided that what we really were interested in was social justice, and to promote that, the best thing we could do would be to create a foundation with the money that was available to us then. So we did, and that was the Buck Foundation. My husband, Douglas Buck, was a man who was very generous and socially very conscious, and it rubbed off on me. Most foundations are very much larger than ours, but we decided that we could start with what we had and see what happened, because ours was purely a private foundation. Nobody else contributed to that. The term justice is one that covers a lot of ground. For us, it meant that people who were normally were pushed to one side and not given a fair chance in the world was not the right way for the world to be. There have been a lot of mistakes made, and we didn't want to continue making them. I want to talk a little bit about the future of the foundation, because the family, which started out with Doug, myself, and the 3 children, now is very large. We have 8 grandchildren and now great-grandchildren. And as they grow up, the world is not what it used to be. So we have to alter our position as a foundation and be open to suggestions from other members of the family. And they have lots of suggestions. We don't always agree, but we're congenial, and we don't argue or fuss. We make a few concessions here and there. Doug has been gone for now a very long time, about 16 years. But I feel when we have a group meeting that his views are carried forward. And that's very pleasing, of course, to me. And every member of the family has a seat on the board of directors, if they so wish. They don't have to, but they can. Doug and I always worked as a team. I think that's very important. I certainly appreciate the contributions that the spouses of all our children in the family have. They're great people. Good choice. We have an annual family meeting this year because there were only 4 of us who assembled. Everybody else participated on Skype, and that was very successful. But we really need to stay acquainted to know how people's interests are developing. And so I hope that personally people can be present next year, because the foundation was created here in Colorado and has made such good progress. It's especially important for the Buck Foundation to participate in good development of Colorado. Of course, the question of immigration comes into play, and that's played a big part in many of our projects. I have such a strong feeling for people of Mexican descent that after our family was grown, I went back to the University of Denver for 2 years and took Spanish language and culture. I'm a native Coloradoan. My mother was born in Colorado, so I go back quite a long way. Douglas, my husband, was not born in Colorado because his father was a mining engineer and the family was living in Monterrey, Mexico at the time he was born. So he had dual citizenship, but at heart he is a Coloradoan. And the family came back to Colorado soon after It does have special meaning for me. But of course, I'm not going to be here forever, and so I think it's important that the foundation spread its wings a little. One of my husband Douglas' passions was to see an improvement in the world attitude. He always thought no one wins a war. And so that was one of his big ideas. But the other was just to deal personally with people who are having a really hard time. The Aurora Center for Rights for All People is a very good step in that direction, and I hope it will flourish. I think the foundation can be a small idea of what we'd hope the world would be. I've learned that it's very important to have a lot of consideration for other people, to try and put yourself in the other fellow's shoes.